All right, Phoenix Raceway, something like that. Welcome back. Uh, Track guide setup. We're gonna talk about a few things here because this is a very tricky track. Lots of crashes are probably gonna be happening. Getting a clean race in is gonna be tougher than usual. So the setup here is changed up from iRacing a bit. The ride height is not as low as it goes. We're making use of some curbs here, and a lot of the curbs here are pretty bumpy, so the ride height is up a little bit. Damper compression is up a bit. 2 clicks here. There's some downhill braking and off camber corners. Um, so having this compression up is going to help keep that back end from locking up too easy. Brake bias, always an individual thing depending on your pedals, but whatever your normal sort of brake pressure is or bias is, you probably want to turn it up a little bit. If you're locking up the tires too much, turn it up. That will help. It is easy to lock up here, especially on cold tires, but even warm tires, there's some very tricky corners here. So watch that brake bias. Suspension is as soft as it goes, front and back. If you know my channel, I like to fool around with the camber. I normally have the disclaimer the camber doesn't, I don't know if it has much of an effect on your lap time. However, I am convinced a little bit on this track that it does play a bit of a role. Um, a lot of cambered corners here, and your tire wear is significantly different from the right side to the left side, as well as tire temps. Very different. So this camber helps even it out a little bit. You don't have to do it. You can certainly put in good times without changing that camber up, keeping it even. However, um, I do think this does help on this track. If you're keeping the camber even, you want to keep it with the higher amounts. You don't want to lower this side unless you want to give it a try. Toe in is turned up. Um, this track is very slick. So the rotation of the car is obviously important, but it's very easy to lose the back end here. So try to minimize the oversteer, and so turning up the toe in is going to help your turn in a bit. Um, Same thing in the back, the toe in is turned up a bit. That doesn't help with your turn in, but it's turned up there a bit. Ride height in the rear is again not as low as it goes, and a little bit higher than normal compared to the front. That is to give the car some more rotation. If you find you're spinning it too easy, just lower this down to 14, and that will make the back end a little bit more grippy. However, you do lose a little bit of rotation. You are going to get a bit more understeer if you lower, or if you lower the ride height there. Compression in the back is just left the same, 6 and 18, 13 liters. Definitely should get you to the end of the race, maybe 12. Gear stack standard, just no way around that. You need that standard stack for the oval section. So that is that. So get into the guide, or the guide here, I guess. 28 degrees. Now, I did go into a few sessions. I got anywhere from 19 degrees to 28 degrees. So this is a hot track. This setup works well on a hot track. So you'll probably find some more grip, obviously, on a 19-degree track. So it'll just hook up a little bit better than what it does on this temp. So coming into turn one here, we're in fourth gear course. This is a very crashy corner because it's tough, and there's going to be a lot of battling going into this. So practice defensive lines. This is going to be a corner where there is a ton of overtake attempts here. So in fourth gear, this is kind of a tricky one. You kind of have to feel it out. Kind of looking for the this Checker and Chevrolet, this red and white sign on the left. You gotta turn in a little earlier than you think, just because you don't want to put too much input into the wheel. Again, defensive line, there'll be people going on the inside here. So just watch out for that. Practice going wide here. Wide is slow, but yeah, in a race you're gonna have to do what you're gonna have to do. So yeah, around that red and white sign, just lifting a bit. You can come in here full throttle. However, if the car is unsettled and you try and save it and all that kind of stuff, you're going to end up going slower. So I do like to lift a little bit coming in here. You want to be tight up against the wall here, trying to keep that wheel as straight as possible. Still in fourth gear, but you're looking for the end of the barrier here to shift down into third. Getting on the brakes now, and uh, I'm kind of always looking for this blue cone, but there's a white line here as well. This white line you can use as a marker. I'm just kind of looking for this blue cone in my view. I can see this between the posts, and that's kind of what I use. Shifting down into second, and now we're getting on the brakes. Now, this is downhill. So it's not a lot downhill, but it is downhill. You can see in the view here, this is downhill. So that's why your back end is going to want to step out here. So it's light. That's why the compression is turned up. It is downhill. Now you want to be getting on the brakes here pretty good down into second gear, as I said. Now this blue cone is actually maybe this yellow line is where things get really tricky. Because now if you look close, the track is now turning off camber, and if you are on the outside here, grip is going to be minimal, and that's if you're caught out here, that is going to be a big reason why you're spinning out. You cannot carry nearly as much speed on the outside here, otherwise you are going to spin. And once you get to this blue cone, yeah, just lifting off the throttle. I came in a little hot here. I did have to do a little counter steer. Ideally, you can kind of see this section of pavement over here. This is where I would rather be getting the car turned into this section, because really after this sort of repair line, that's where the camber of the corner really goes away from the track. So if you're up here, you can carry a lot more speed than if you're over here. Passing on the outside really isn't gonna be a thing unless someone's really good or you're messed it up and going real slow. So yeah, just sort of feathering, managing the throttle, keeping some on there, and getting the car turned in. And this is again where you need that rotation in the car. This is a pretty tough corner. Getting the car turned in, you're looking for this cone. You don't want to get your tire into this little crotch of the curb and the gravel. This gravel is treated like grass. It is very slippery, and this curb has a very big lip to it, and there's a bump here as well, so just watch out for that. You don't want to get too much onto that. It will really unsettle the car. And then just picking up the throttle as early as you can, and you gotta switch over to the right here. Again, on cold tires, you gotta be a little more careful here. This switching the car, changing the directions really fast may get you spinning. So you want to get onto this curb, not so much on the blue and white, but you want to get into the inside portion of this track, just to open up the corner a bit here, and just straightening out the corner. Again, this is where the ride height comes into play. If you find the car is too unsettled, you may want to just increase the ride height one click in front and back. That will give you a little less bumps from the curb. And then just trying to keep the wheel straight, working up into third gear. Now this corner, Again, uh, somebody might be on the inside here. If it's a tough one. You're gonna have to run wide. If someone's going up here, they are gonna have to go really slow, and if they don't, they're gonna plow into you if you're on the outside. You want to just get onto these curbs and get this as tight as you can to the wall. So if you come in here too narrow, you are going to basically slide wide over here onto this section. That's not good. So yeah, full throttle here. Now if you're sliding wide, I believe the rule is if all four tires are on the pavement past the curb here, you get a slowdown, and it's not a nice slowdown. So watch out for that. I'm over the line here, but I'm still on the curb, no slowdown. But yeah, don't get too far over there. So just looking for the end of this curb, just gonna lift a little bit. Cold tires, it's a little bit more of a lift, a little lift earlier, and it's important to get over top of this curb here as well, just to open up this corner as well. Again, bit of a bump here unsettles the car. You don't really want to be on the throttle as you're getting bumped there. Just give it a little brief lift and then back on the throttle. But it is a quick braking zone now. You want to get the wheel straight and then shift down into first. Pretty heavy on the brakes here. Again, you come into this too hot, you are going to spin. It's not an anti-camber corner necessarily, but it certainly has no positive camber to it. So watch out. It is easy to spin, and you want to get into this grooved pavement section here. Running wide is just gonna extend the track and going to cause you some troubles trying to get turned into this corner here. First gear, full throttle. Again, cold tires, watch this section. You can get a little bit of a spin here, holding it tight to the curb here. Working up the gears and then just unwinding the wheel, using all of the track here. And just aiming for the curbs on the left. You can clip the corner here, no big deal, won't unsettle the car. Now coming into this one, another very interesting corner. There's not a great braking marker. What I'm looking for is braking between this little small little white patch and the long solid line. If there's a car in front of you, obviously that's not going to be so easy to see. Now, this corner is going to be a lot of crashing here as well. You're going to see a whole bunch of different stuff on track. You're going to see people on the left side of this line maybe defending, or just maybe they didn't watch the track guide and aren't opening the corner up enough. They're going to be going very slow through this corner. You're also going to see people running way out wide here, which they're going to cut in, and if you're on the inside and they cut in, two does not go into this corner at all. There's going to be some contact, so watch out for that. So braking between that little white line and this one. Again, third gear, if you're drafting off someone, you might be in fourth, so just watch out for that. You may have to get on the brakes a little earlier and make sure you do get down into first gear. This is a first gear corner. Very heavy on the brakes, doesn't have to be said. Watch out for this sand. Don't get on it. So yeah, there'll be people that go right up into here before they turn in. So watch out for that, because they may think you're gonna let them have it, and if you don't let them have it, you're probably gonna come together. So turning in there, first gear, releasing the brakes, and you want to be on the gas way before the apex, because this is a long straight here. You can graze that curb a little bit, but don't take too much. You don't want to get on top of that grass. And then picking up the throttle and using all of the track, getting close to this wall. Again, cold tires, watch out. You could understeer into that wall, which is no fun. So keeping it kind of not quite mid-track. You don't really want to get up top here. I find that just extends the track and makes it slower. But you don't want to necessarily be against this yellow line. You're going to have to turn the wheel too much and you will scrub some speed. It's not terrible, but not the best. But if you're defending, you may want to hug that yellow line earlier than now. But looking for the signage here, so coming from sort of mid-track and then working your way to the yellow line around this advertising signage, and then keeping it tight against this yellow line. You don't really want to be on the apron here. That is not quick. So yeah, watch out for that. If you try and cut through here, it actually is a little slower. This apron is not too grippy. So just follow the dotted line out here and just straighten the wheel and work yourself over to the right hand side. Obviously, if you're defending, you may want to be on the left hand side going into turn 1 here. And it's a little run to the line. You're probably not going to catch anyone in a draft unless they kind of really screwed up that oval section. So anyway, that is a 1:01.2. I think on a hot track that's probably a pretty competitive time, but if it's 19 degrees, probably be breaking in to the 1 minutes, 6s, 7s, maybe 8s. So that is this week's guide. We will see you next time. We'll run it out at full speed.